The knife clattered against my plate as Eugene's words hung in the air like poison. Maybe now Aaron will finally understand what real work feels like instead of coasting through life. Everyone at the table, Mom, Dad, Aunt Cheryl, even my cousin Evelyn, nodded in agreement. My throat tightened. I'd lost my job at Henderson Analytics 3 days ago. Downsizing, they called it. 15 years of 60-hour weeks, reduced to a cardboard box and a security escort. Eugene has a point, baby, Mom said, passing the greens. You've always had it easy. Your brother built that company from nothing. I stared at Eugene across the mahogany table he'd bought last year. The one I'd helped pay for. He smirked, cutting into his steak with theatrical precision. The September evening light caught the Rolex on his wrist, the one from the bonus he'd gotten after I'd quietly transferred another $200,000 into his business account. 6 years. 6 years I'd been the silent partner in TechVision Solutions, funneling my analyst salary and investment returns into Eugene's self-made empire. Our agreement was simple. I wanted to help family succeed, and he wanted to avoid the stigma of handouts. Nobody could know. He'd sworn on our late grandmother's grave. Earth to Aaron, Dad's voice cut through my thoughts. You even listening? Eugene worked his tail off. Maybe you should take notes. My jaw clenched. Eugene raised his glass, that same smirk dancing on his lips. To hard work paying off, he toasted. They all drank. I didn't. Because in that moment, staring at my brother's satisfied face, I realized I didn't know him at all. And he was about to learn exactly who'd been carrying him this whole time. The rage started small, an ember in my chest as I drove home to my apartment in Oakwood. By the time I pulled into the parking garage, it was a wildfire. My hands shook as I unlocked my door, the silence of my place amplifying every thought screaming through my head. I poured myself 2 fingers of bourbon and opened my laptop. The folders were right where I'd left them, TechVision, confidential. 6 years of wire transfers, investment summaries, and our original partnership agreement, signed and notarized. Eugene's signature stared back at me like evidence of a crime I'd helped commit against myself. $273,000. That's what I'd invested total. The company was now valued at $4.2 million, according to last quarter's evaluation. My stake, per our agreement, was 40%. He'd wanted 35%. I'd negotiated up. You're basically a founding partner, Eugene had said that night in 2019, his apartment still smelling of ramen and desperation. I'll never forget this. Family first, always. Family first. I laughed bitterly, the bourbon burning my throat. My phone buzzed. A text from Evelyn, don't take it personal. Eugene was just being real. Love you cause. Real. They thought he was being real. I scrolled through my banking app. Severance wouldn't hit for 2 weeks. Savings could cover maybe 3 months of expenses if I stretched it. Meanwhile, Eugene was closing a deal with Patterson Industries next month, a contract worth $800,000 annually. I knew because I'd reviewed the preliminary numbers he'd sent me to celebrate. He'd sent them the same day I'd told him I'd been laid off. He'd sent them with zero acknowledgement of my situation, just excitement about his success. The anger crystallized into something colder. Determination. Monday morning hit different. No alarm for a job I didn't have. Instead, I scheduled a meeting with Arturo Hunt, the attorney who drafted our partnership agreement. Her office downtown smelled like leather and old money, the kind of place that charged $600 an hour just to breathe their air. Aaron Harris, she greeted me, her handshake firm. It's been what, for years? 6. Since we drew up the TechVision documents. Her expression shifted, professional mask sliding into place. I remember. Silent partnership, very unusual terms. Is there a problem? I laid out the folder. I need to understand my options. My brother's been positioning himself as a self-made entrepreneur. I've stayed silent like we agreed. But circumstances have changed. Arturo spent 20 minutes reviewing everything. Her manicured nails tapped against her desk, a rhythm that matched my anxious heartbeat. Finally, she looked up. Mr. Harris, You're not just a silent partner. According to this agreement, you have full legal standing as a 40% stakeholder with quarterly profit rights. You're entitled to dividends, financial transparency, and a seat on any board decisions. He's never given me quarterly reports. That's a breach of contract. She leaned forward. Has he paid you any dividends in 6 years? Not once. He said it was all being reinvested for growth. I trusted him. Her eyes narrowed. The company's profitable. I can see from public filings that TechVision had net profits of $600,000 last year alone. Your share would have been $240,000. The room tilted. $240,000. In 1 year. Money I'd earned but never seen. He owes me, I whispered. Substantially, Arturo confirmed. And we can prove it. The coffee shop across from TechVision's office in the business district became my surveillance post. I needed to see it with fresh eyes, the empire built on my invisible foundation. The building was modest, a renovated warehouse with exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows. Through them, I could see employees moving with purpose. 23 people now worked there. I'd helped hire the first 5 through anonymous recommendations Eugene had claimed as his networking genius. My phone rang. Mom. I let it go to voicemail, then immediately regretted it and listened. Baby, I know dinner was hard, but Eugene didn't mean anything by it. Call me back. Love you. Didn't mean anything. Like casual cruelty was just his communication style. A black Tesla pulled into the executive parking spot. Eugene emerged, designer suit sharp enough to cut glass. Behind him, a woman I didn't recognize, late 30s, confident stride, portfolio under her arm. They were laughing about something. He held the door for her, his hand briefly touching her lower back. I Googled her face using a photo I'd snapped. Leonard Lewis, VP of Operations at TechVision. Her LinkedIn said she'd been there 4 months. Impressive resume, Stanford MBA, former consultant at McKinsey. The kind of hire that cost serious money. Money I'd provided. My phone buzzed. Email from Eugene. Yo, heard you're job hunting. Got a buddy at Riverside Tech, entry-level analyst position. Thought of you. Let me know if you want an intro. Trying to help out. Entry-level. After 15 years in the industry. I typed back, we need to talk. In person. Tomorrow. His response came immediately, busy week. What's this about? Our partnership. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, thought we agreed to keep that quiet. Everything cool. Everything was decidedly not cool. Eugene chose a sports bar in Riverside for our meeting, loud enough that privacy was guaranteed by sheer noise. He was already there when I arrived Tuesday evening, basketball game on the screens above us, beer halfway finished. What's so urgent it couldn't wait? He didn't stand, didn't offer the usual hug. His jaw was tight. I slid into the booth across from him. I need to see the quarterly reports. All of them, from the beginning. His eyes flickered. Man, we talked about this. Everything's being reinvested. You know how startups work. TechVision isn't a startup anymore. You're profitable. Have been for 3 years. Who told you that? Public filings. You're incorporated, Eugene. It's not secret information. He took a long pull from his beer, stalling. The crowd erupted as someone scored. When he finally spoke, his voice had an edge I'd never heard before. Look, D, I appreciate what you did early on. I do. But the reality is, I'm the one who built this. I'm the one taking calls at midnight, handling clients, managing employees. You wrote some checks. Some checks. $273,000. And you got equity. 40% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Then show me the books. Show me what my 40% is worth. He leaned back, studying me like I was a stranger. You threatening me? At my family dinner, you're all quiet. Now you grow a spine. That dinner is exactly why we're here. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I told the truth. You lost your job. That's on you. The words landed like punches. The truth. You want to talk about truth, Eugene? Let's talk about who funded your self-made success story. His face darkened. Careful. Or what? We didn't speak for 3 days. I spent them calling everyone Eugene and I mutually knew in business, carefully, quietly, asking questions about TechVision's reputation. What I learned turned my stomach. Jamal Brooks, an old college friend now working in venture capital, met me for lunch at Meridian Bistro. TechVision's solid, he said, picking at his salmon. Eugene Harris's got a reputation as a closer. Smart guy. Ambitious. Why? How ambitious? Jamal's fork paused mid-air. That's a weird question. What's going on, D? I chose my words carefully. Hypothetically, if someone had a stake in TechVision, would that be valuable? Hypothetically? Man, they're about to close the Patterson deal. That's generational wealth territory if they scale right. Anybody with equity in that company is sitting pretty. He studied me. You got skin in the game. 40%. He choked on his water. 40. Are you serious? Aaron, do you understand what that's worth? Tell me. Conservatively, with the Patterson contract and their current trajectory, you're looking at a company worth $10 million in 3 years. Your stake could be $4 million. He grabbed my arm. Please tell me you have this in writing. Ironclad contract. Then why do you look like someone died? Because someone had died. The brother I thought I knew. The family I thought I could trust. My phone buzzed. Dad calling. I ignored it. Another buzz. A text from Aunt Cheryl. Your mama's worried about you. Call her. And apologize to Eugene for whatever you said to him. He mentioned you're acting strange. Acting strange. I was the problem now. That night, I drafted an email to Eugene with Arturo's help. Formal, legal, clear. I wanted full financial disclosure within 7 business days, per our partnership agreement. His response came at 2 a.m., you're making a mistake. The disclosure never came. Instead, Eugene called a family intervention at Mom and Dad's house Saturday afternoon. I walked in to find everyone already seated in the living room like a tribunal. Mom on the couch, Dad in his recliner, Eugene standing by the fireplace like he owned the place. Aunt Cheryl and Uncle Ray occupied the love seat, and Evelyn sat cross-legged on the floor, phone in hand but eyes on me. Sit down, Aaron, Dad said, voice heavy with disappointment. I remained standing. What's this about? You know what this is about, Eugene cut in. You're trying to shake me down over a business arrangement we made years ago. Money I don't owe you. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Money? Aaron, what is he talking about? I invested in TechVision. I'm a 40% partner. Eugene has never paid me dividends despite the company being profitable. The room erupted. Aunt Cheryl, you invested. Uncle Ray, how much? Evelyn, wait, what? But Dad's voice cut through. You gave Eugene money and now you want it back because you're struggling? That's not how family works. I don't want it back. I want what I'm legally owed. Eugene played his role perfectly, running his hand over his face like I was exhausting him. See? This is what I'm dealing with. I'm trying to build something, support the family, and Aaron is acting like I stole from him. Did you pay him his share? Uncle Ray asked. It's complicated, Unc. Startup finances aren't simple. Everything's reinvested. Aaron knows this. I know you owe me over $1 million in unpaid dividends. Mom gasped. The number hung there, obscene and impossible in their modest living room with its worn carpet and family photos. Dad stood. $1 million? Boy, have you lost your mind? Show them the contract, I said quietly. Show them our partnership agreement. Eugene's jaw worked. I don't have to show them anything. This is between us. Then show me the financial statements. You're being greedy, D. I can't believe you're doing this to me, to us. Evelyn stood up, her voice uncertain. Maybe Eugene should just show him the papers? I mean, if it's all legit. Stay out of this, T, Eugene snapped. But something shifted in the room. Uncle Ray's eyes narrowed. Hold up. If Aaron invested and there's a contract, he's got rights. That's just business, nephew. Thank you, I said, relief flooding through me. Eugene's expression turned cold. Fine. You want to play this game? Let's play. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying. My lawyers will be in touch. But let me be clear, D, you pursue this, you're choosing to destroy this family. Everything Mom and Dad built, the respect we have in this community, you're willing to burn it all because you're bitter about your own failures. My failures? I funded your success. You wrote checks. I built a company. There's a difference. Mom was crying now, quiet tears streaming. Why can't you two just work this out? We're family. I tried, Mom. I've tried for 6 years to be the silent partner Eugene wanted. I stayed quiet when he needed it. I celebrated his wins like they were just his. But the second I needed support, he humiliated me. Dad moved to comfort Mom. There's always two sides. Maybe both of you need to compromise. Compromise on what's legally mine. On your pride, Dad said sharply. That's what's really hurt here, isn't it? Your pride. The words struck deeper than Eugene's betrayal. My own father couldn't see it. I left before I said something unforgivable. Driving aimlessly through the city, I ended up at Riverside Park, the place where Eugene and I used to play basketball as kids. The courts were empty, twilight casting long shadows across the asphalt. My phone rang continuously. I ignored every call until one came from an unknown number. Mr. Harris? This is Leonard Lewis from TechVision Solutions. I sat up straight on the bench. How did you get this number? I have my ways. Look, I know what's happening between you and Eugene. I need to talk to you. In person. Tonight if possible. Why would Eugene's VP want to talk to me? Because Eugene Harris is a lot of things, but honest isn't one of them. Her voice dropped. And I think you deserve to know what you're actually dealing with. We met at an all-night diner in Parkside, the kind of place with checkered floors and waitresses who'd seen everything. Leonard arrived in jeans and a sweatshirt, looking nothing like the polished executive I'd seen before. She ordered coffee, waited until the waitress left, then slid a folder across the table. I could lose my job for this. Probably will when it comes out. But I can't watch this happen. Inside were financial statements, emails, and contractor agreements. My eyes scanned the numbers, not understanding at first, then understanding too much. He's been paying himself a salary of $400,000 annually, Leonard said. Plus bonuses. Plus expense accounts that include everything from his car lease to his country club membership. That's not illegal if he disclosed it. He didn't. To you. And there's more. She pointed to a highlighted section. See this consulting fee to Vision Advisory Group. $50,000 quarterly. Who are they? His girlfriend. Or ex-girlfriend. It's complicated. Point is, he's been siphoning money through shell contracts. My hands trembled. Why are you telling me this? Leonard's eyes met mine, and I saw something there I recognized, exhausted integrity. Because I took this job thinking Eugene was the real deal. Self-made entrepreneur. Inspiring story. Then I started seeing irregularities. When I asked questions, he got defensive. When I pushed harder, he suggested I was overstepping. She took a sip of coffee. Last week, I found out about you. I was reviewing partnership documents for the Patterson deal, and your name was right there. 40% ownership. So I started digging into why a 40% partner wasn't involved in any decisions. That's when I found the dividend records. Or rather, the complete absence of them. He's been stealing from me. Systematically. And he's good at it. Everything's just legal enough to defend if you don't look too close. But if you do look close, if you bring in forensic accountants and lawyers. She leaned back. I've already accepted a position at another firm. I start in 3 weeks. I couldn't work for him anymore. Not after I understood what he was doing to his own brother. The weight of it crashed down. This wasn't family drama. This was fraud. What do I do? You fight. You bring in serious lawyers, demand a full audit, and you don't let him spin this as some family disagreement. This is your business. Your money. Your future. She paused. And Aaron? Document everything. Especially what he said at that dinner. Witnesses matter. I drove home with the folder on my passenger seat, evidence of betrayal in manila and paper clips. At a red light, I called Arturo Hunt, not caring that it was 10 p.m. I need to file suit, I said when she answered. Tomorrow. I need everything, full audit, dividend recovery, the works. Are you absolutely sure? This will burn bridges. The bridges are already ash. I'm just making it official. The lawsuit hit like a bomb. Eugene received the papers at TechVision's office on a Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, my phone was nuclear. Mom called 6 times. Dad texted, "What have you done?" Aunt Cheryl left a voicemail so vitriolic I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. Evelyn sent one message, "I believe you. I'm sorry I didn't before." That one message kept me breathing. The family group chat, the one I'd been part of for 8 years, where we shared memes and birthday plans and Sunday dinner reminders, showed me removed. Kicked out digitally. Erased. But something else happened. The lawsuit was public record. Industry people noticed. The same networks Eugene had climbed using my money suddenly had questions. Jamal called, "Bro, this is insane. You need anything?" 3 other colleagues reached out. Even my old boss from Henderson Analytics, Aaron, I heard. "If you need a reference or connections, I'm here." Then came the media. A business reporter from the Metro Times wanted a statement. Local entrepreneur faces lawsuit from brother claiming 40% ownership and unpaid dividends in excess of $1 million. The story wrote itself. Eugene's response was predictable, a press release positioning himself as the victim of a family member's greed during hard times. "I'm saddened by my brother's decision to pursue legal action rather than communication. Family businesses are complex, but I remain committed to resolving this privately." Privately. After he'd humiliated me publicly. Arturo filed for immediate injunctive relief, freezing any major company decisions until the audit was complete. Eugene couldn't close the Patterson deal without my approval now. The irony was delicious. He called at midnight. I almost didn't answer. "You're destroying everything," he said, voice raw. "The Patterson deal is worth everything to us. They're spooked by the lawsuit. Should have thought about that before committing fraud." It wasn't fraud. It was family helping family. Then open the books. Show the judge that. Silence. Then, "I hate you for this. I hate that you made this necessary." The audit took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of depositions, document reviews, and watching Eugene's empire crack under scrutiny. The forensic accountants found everything Leonard had shown me and more. Ghost employees. Inflated contractor fees. Personal expenses coded as business costs. And the dividends, my dividends, reinvested without authorization and counted as Eugene's personal capital contributions. The preliminary report valued my owed dividends at $1.3 million. But it was the other finding that broke everything wide open. Eugene had been seeking outside investors, pitching them ownership stakes that didn't exist. He'd promised 15% to Patterson Industries as part of the deal sweetener, conveniently forgetting he couldn't give away what was mine. Securities fraud. The words appeared in legal briefs like a death sentence. The settlement meeting happened in a conference room downtown, mahogany table and leather chairs that cost more than most people's cars. Eugene arrived with 2 lawyers and a face like stone. I had Arturo and a financial advisor. My client is prepared to offer a buyout, Eugene's lead attorney began. Mr. Aaron Harris will receive $850,000 for his full stake in TechVision Solutions, plus a confidentiality agreement regarding all partnership details. No, I said before Arturo could respond. Eugene leaned forward. That's more than fair, D. Take the money and walk away. Fair. Your company is worth $4 million conservatively. 40% is $1.6 million minimum. Plus you owe me $1.3 in dividends. We're talking almost $3 million, and you're offering $850 with a gag order. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Try again. The negotiation took 4 hours. In the end, I walked away with $2.4 million, dividend backpay plus buyout, and no confidentiality clause. I could tell whoever I wanted what had happened. Eugene signed the papers with shaking hands. As everyone packed up, he caught my arm. Was it worth it? Destroying your family over money? I pulled free. You destroyed us the second you chose greed over honesty. I just made sure you paid for it. 6 months later, I stood in the lobby of Harris Analytics, my company, named after the family that taught me who not to trust. The irony wasn't lost on me. 15 employees, all treated fairly, all paid what they deserved. Transparency wasn't just policy, it was religion. Evelyn worked as my operations coordinator. She'd cut ties with Eugene after the truth came out, and Dad hadn't spoken to her in months either. Family loyalty means enabling fraud, apparently, she told me over drinks. Mom called sometimes. Awkward conversations where she tried to pretend nothing had changed while carefully avoiding Eugene's name. Dad never called. He'd made his choice. But I had something they couldn't take: self-respect. And money. Enough money to build something real, something mine. The Metro Times ran a follow-up story, From Betrayal to Business, How Aaron Harris Built His Consulting Empire. It detailed everything: the secret partnership, the unpaid dividends, the lawsuit. Eugene's company had lost the Patterson deal. Investors fled. Last I heard, he was downsizing. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. This is Eugene. I need to talk to you about a loan. Please. I stared at it for a long moment, remembering the dinner where he'd called me lazy. Remembering the family meeting where I was the villain. Remembering every time he'd chosen his pride over my partnership. Then I blocked the number. Some bridges deserve to burn. The light they create helps you see who was really standing beside you all along. And who was just standing in your way.